Alright. What's up, y'all? Saul here, and welcome back to my story mode. So, as the title suggests, today we're going to be talking about Pokemon Day 2023. Now, the title does say what to expect, but personally, this is just what I expect coming out of this Presents. So going forward, just go ahead and take everything that I say with a grain of salt, alright? Because unfortunately, my uncle does not work at Nintendo or with the Pokemon Company, so I don't actually know. All of my assumptions here are based on the previous years and previous experiences, so, take away what you will from this. For anybody that has absolutely no idea what I'm talking about, Pokemon Day is the anniversary of Pokemon, in which they celebrate every year on the anniversary of Pokemon, which is on the 27th of February. It's not insane to assume that we're going to be receiving some kind of Pokemon Presents talking about this next year of Pokemon. Pokemon Day in of itself lands on a Monday. If we're going to have that Pokemon Presents on that day, I'm unsure of. However, I highly doubt that we're going to be getting something the day before, which would be on a Sunday. That just doesn't seem right. So, the Presents in of itself is probably going to be premiering either that Monday morning at 6 a.m. or that Tuesday morning at 6 a.m. I might have gotten the time wrong, but you know what? It doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, it's going to be early as hell in the morning, and I'm actually going to have to force myself awake or not go to sleep at all. It's going to kill me. That's all I know. At the time of this recording, it's currently the 17th of February, meaning, as of right now, we know absolutely nothing. Which means it's the perfect time to record this. No leaks to go off of or spoil us, and it's a great time to make bizarre assumptions before they specifically give us anything to say otherwise. Yep. Sorry, Pokemon, you're not getting the jump on me this time. If you guys have been on the channel for a while, you know that every time I start to make a video regarding a specific topic when it comes to the future of a certain game or just the Pokemon series in general, they always give an announcement the next day. My luck is legitimately that bad. I have had to kill off so many videos because of their announcement timing. It's crazy. But not this time, suckers. I'm ahead of the curve today, so we're going to be talking about all of my assumptions about the possibilities of what we're going to be receiving during the Presents for Pokemon Day 2023. So, the Pokemon Day Presents itself. What are some of the general things that we can come to expect from this? So like I mentioned earlier, Pokemon Day in of itself is on the 27th, which lands on a Monday. I surmise that it's at some point during the weekend before that Monday, they'll be giving us the announcement that we're going to be getting a Pokemon Presents for Pokemon Day. Most likely on Monday, possibly on Tuesday. No later than that, for certain. It'll give everybody at least a day or two to really rack their brains and get in a tizzy about what they're going to be announcing for Pokemon Day. So, I think that that's a perfect time to announce it. I think that that's a fair assumption. Given the fact that it's going to be an anniversary Presents, we're most likely going to get at least like 40 minutes or so of news regarding Pokemon for the next year. When it comes to some of the more general news, I surmise that they're going to announce at least 2 out of these 3 things. One of my guesses is that they're going to announce another mini-series that's going to be on par with that of either Generations or Evolutions, something to yet again revisit the stories of previous generations of tales that have yet to be told. There's still so many different stories to tell throughout the Pokemon series. How Red ended up on that mountain. How Wally became as strong as he did at the end of your journey in Pokemon Emerald. Based on the titles that we've gotten, I wouldn't be surprised if they gave us a mini-series titled something like Pokemon Restorations. Several different mini-stories that help restore the lost pieces of Pokemon. I know, I'm getting dramatic, but what can I say? I can't help it. Those series are some of the best things to ever come to the series, and by golly, if they were to have made those full-on animated series, I would have lost my mind. Y'all would never get me to shut up. Oh, and when that happens, we'll be discussing and reviewing every single episode. Mark my words. And of course, the same exact situation applies to one of my other possibilities. It's also very possible that they'll announce a mini-series regarding specifically the Paldea region. Now, of course, they could go the typical route like they did with Twilight Wings and just tell mini-stories revolving around some of the characters that reside in the Paldea region, but I have something a little more interesting that I would like to see. Stories that follow the professors on their journeys to their respective past or future versions of the Paldea region, and them doing their research up until the point where they have to save Koraidon or Miraidon. Yeah, you go ahead, you lie to me and tell me that wouldn't be the sickest mini-series to watch. Anyway, I'm probably getting ahead of myself. Either way, it's just a guess, but I wouldn't be surprised if we had something that's contained to specifically the Paldea region. Now, I said 2 of the 3 things because there's no way in hell that they're going to announce 2 different animated miniseries within the same year. That's just ridiculous. So, if we are going to receive an animated series, we're probably going to get one or the other, and if we don't get the other, it'll most likely come to us maybe in a year or so from now. We'll have to see what happens. And then there's my last assumption, which is completely unrelated to either of those miniseries. At this point in time, about a week ago or so, we recently received a Nintendo Direct. Within said Direct, they made the announcements that Game Boy games, Game Boy Color games, and Game Boy Advance games are all going to be available on NSO. As we know, the only current modern way to have legal access to legacy content is through NSO or on the Wii U eShop or the 3DS eShop before they close down next month. So obviously, with that announcement, a lot of us, I'm sure, had the same general idea. As some of the most successful selling titles on those respective consoles, will we be getting Pokemon games on NSO? Given the fact that Pokemon and Nintendo are hand in hand, there's no way they didn't collaborate how they were going to announce this. As of right now, I am fully under the impression that they're going to announce that generations 1 through 3 will be available on Nintendo Switch Online. I mean, come on, that would just be insane not to do. Pokemon games have always been, and frankly will probably always be, console sellers, so especially in their prime with generations 1 through 3, it would be criminal not to include those. I personally won't be getting them, but I think that it is a very important thing to have on there, and it costs them literally nothing, so honestly, make it happen, Captain. That's all I'm saying. So that just about does it for all of my general predictions when it comes to the more random stuff. Why don't we start focusing on the specifics? For a quick second here, why don't we talk about the anime? For anybody that wasn't aware, the new anime with our new protagonists is actually releasing in April of this year. Meaning that at this time, it's only 2 months away. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they dropped a little trailer or something to show us a little bit of what's going on with these new characters and their adventure in the Paldea region. However though, at some random point during the day or sometime that night, I can't quite recall, they posted a couple of screenshots of Liko and Roy and some items that I guess they keep on them. With Liko, she had this weird like multicolored pendant that shines really brightly. Roy seems to have some kind of ancient prehistoric looking Pokeball on him for whatever reason. Now frankly, I only take a guess that that Pokeball that Roy is holding is prehistoric only because this story takes place in the Paldea region, meaning there's going to be something happening with the future and the past of the Paldea region. Obviously, that's what the story of the game follows. I'm sure that both of them will be respectively exploring the past and the future throughout their journeys, so I don't know how it's going to happen, but I'm sure these items here have something to do with that. We'll get to that when we get to that. Also, quick side thing, when they do inevitably drop this series, would you guys want reviews on each episode? Should we do like a weekly weekend type deal where we talk about each individual episode? I'm super down to do that. You know, that sounds like a lot of fun. Just something to keep things consistent over here, you know what I'm saying? I might just go ahead and do that. Overall though, there's really not much else to say when it comes to the anime. I'm sure we'll get more information on Pokemon Day, but for now, we'll just have to wait and see. So why don't we go ahead and talk about what's actually going to be taking up the most time on this Presents, the spin-off stuff. To start with the small stuff, I'm sure Pokemon Masters and Cafe Mix will get something. I don't know what, and I don't really care what, because I don't play Masters anymore, and I have never touched Cafe Mix for more than 5 minutes, so, you know, I'm sure they'll get something nice, maybe some new Pokemon to help mix coffee, and, you know, Masters, maybe they'll get, like, a new Master, somebody really cool and overpowered, I'm sure, as gachas tend to do. And of course, there's Pokemon Sleep, which clearly passed away in its sleep. So, I guess we're just not gonna talk about that anymore because we've seen high nor hair of it. It's gone. It's dead. It's done. Now to actually start talking about the bigger stuff, there's no way they're not gonna announce something insane for Pokemon Go. My guess is they're probably gonna move up another generation of Pokemon and they're gonna actually introduce another gimmick. Maybe Z-moves? Maybe Z-moves? I could be crazy, but that's just my guess. You know what's funny? I'll say that we'll get something insane, but in reality, I don't even know what insane is for Pokemon Go. I almost never go on there. Every time I open Pokemon Go, there's a new update necessary, and then I close it and don't update it. So, you know, that just goes to show how often I'm on Pokemon Go. But I will be honest, there is a tiny part of me that always hopes that they'll announce something so cool, so grand, so awesome that it'll actually get me back into Pokemon Go. But so far, these last couple of years, never done that. I have not participated in one community day since I dropped it. Not one. Anyway, that's not what this is about. Long story short, I'm sure that you guys will get something super dope for Pokemon Go because that is one of their primary moneymakers. So I'm sure they'll do something nice to keep that alive and going. And of course, another game that strangely has yet to die out is Pokemon Unite. And obviously they're going to be doing something huge for that. I played it like one time a couple of weeks ago, whooped absolute ass, and then never touched it again. It's so funny how that game works for me. Anyhow, I could not even begin to guess what kind of whatever they're going to be introducing in Pokemon Unite. Probably some really cool in-game items, maybe some anniversary costumes for some of the OG Pokemon like Pikachu and Gengar and Charizard and stuff like that. So, I don't know, maybe something really neat. Who knows? And then, of course, there's the main meat of this discussion, which is the inevitable summer release of a spin-off. Surely they'll be giving us something in the middle of the year to play outside of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet's DLC, right? Because why wouldn't they? I'm sure that they've been discreetly working on a project for a good while now. What that project is, I have actually truly no idea, but I can take a guess. I've already come to the conclusion that stuff like Pokemon Rangers and Pokemon Conquest are not coming back. The Ranger series is something that specifically worked for the DS. Bringing that over to Switch in any way, shape, or form, it would be almost impossible. I can't think of a way to logically bring those games over. It would be nice in theory, but I couldn't even explain how that would happen. So I'm done trying to hope for those games to come back. Conquest, they don't really need, since the Switch already has Fire Emblem, and that would be kind of a waste of time this late in the game to bring back a Pokemon Conquest game, so that'd be kind of weird, so giving up hope on that. I am still kind of holding out hope for a new Pokepark game, but given the circumstances and the fact that we skipped an entire generation without it, I think it's safe to say that we're probably not getting that. So, sure enough, the only thing that truly leaves us with is another Pokemon Mystery Dungeon remake. I mean, think about it. It's already been a good amount of time since we've gotten the Red and Blue Rescue Team remakes. On top of this, they already have the blueprints for the sequels. They just have to remake that for the Switch. That's too easy. So if it wasn't obvious, my guess here is that we're most likely going to be receiving an announcement for Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Time and Darkness remakes. It is simply the fastest thing to develop. That is the only reason why I think that they would do that. Of course, I want other things. A Pokemon Warriors game, a Pokemon Racing game, another Pokken, for sakes' sake, please. But Mystery Dungeon is easier. So fair game. Fair game. Anyway, I see us receiving this spin-off, whatever it happens to be, around late June, early July, or something along those lines. And then, of course, they would have been saving the best announcement for last, the DLC for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I have an idea of what the DLC could be, and I know it's wrong, and I'm going to make a video separately from this on that anyway. But what it will actually be, I don't even ask. I have no idea. They could follow a similar pattern of what they did with Generation 8, but there's really no guarantee on that because, again, Generation 8 is the first time that we received DLC instead of a full-blown game for that year. Would it make sense to follow that pattern? Yes, absolutely. Are we guaranteed to follow that pattern? No, absolutely not. We will never know what they have in store for us with this series, so... well, that one we're just gonna have to wait and see. But, like I said, I do have a very extravagant idea of what could happen for the DLC. We'll talk about that in the next video, so hold off on that for now. But, other than that, yeah, we'll probably receiving something regarding the DLC for summer, maybe winter, if we're going by the same logic of Generation 8. And I know for a fact that the one that comes out at the end of the year is the one that we're gonna want the most. Watch, I'm calling it. So, yeah, that just about wraps up all of my thoughts on what we could potentially receive on Pokemon Day 2023, probably next week. Whatever they announce, it's gonna be a fun watch, and I'm very much looking forward to it, and I hope you guys are too. But I'm gonna leave that to them because they are unpredictable in what they give us, so I'll just leave it in their hands. But what are you guys thinking over there? You think I'm wrong, do ya? You think I'm incorrect with all of my guesses and theories and assumptions on what we're gonna be receiving? Well, hey, you know what? The mic is right there, buckaroo, pal, amigo. Why don't you go ahead and pick that sucker up and tell me what you're thinking then, huh? You think I'm wrong? Do you think that we're gonna receive almost none of what I said during this Pokemon Presents? Or are you with me? Are you right on the money? You feel me? Are you feeling what I'm saying? Do you think that everything that I said is a most likely guarantee? Tell me everything that you guys are thinking in the comment section below, because you know for a fact that I am always down there with you guys. But with that, yeah, sounds about right. It do be skedaddle o'clock. I'd like to thank you guys ever so much for watching. I truly do hope you enjoyed. Do me the greatest favor of dropping a like and a comment, and consider subscribing for more content just like this here. And with that, I'm getting the hell up out. Thanks again, hope you enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Do me the greatest favor, taking good ass care, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!